So, good afternoon, and welcome to Tea Time with Jude. There's a couple things I wanted to talk about today, and I wanted to make sure that people were comfortable with some of the things that keep rolling around in all of our heads every single day. And I'm hearing a lot about, what do I do with this? How do I handle this? And this is, first of all, we don't handle what's going on out there. We kind of check inside and handle ourselves and what we're thinking. And to keep in mind, always keep in mind that your thoughts are just thoughts. Thoughts are things you're thinking about. You can talk yourself into believing those thoughts, or you can change those thoughts. So what usually happens when you wake up in the morning? It's awfully quiet out there. Oh, this thing is still going on. Yeah. How do I feel? Not so happy today. A thought you're thinking, not necessarily true. Not so happy today. And so you may carry that feeling throughout the entire day. Then the opposite can happen too. You can wake up in the morning. You can breathe in the quiet, fresh air. And you may be thinking, I'm feeling better. Maybe I'm getting through this funk. This is good. You get out of bed, hit the ground, your day's okay. But in either case, it's important that we know how to nurture ourselves. And it's not something that we're necessarily accustomed to. Especially with women, no offense to men, but especially with women, we're taught to nurture. We're taught to take care of everybody around us. We're not necessarily taught that it's okay if we take care of ourselves too. So what happens is, if you wake up in the morning, you're not feeling really good. I'll give you a for instance. 20 some years ago, I had breast cancer. And it was actually more scary 20 years ago than it is now, because I'm not taking anything away from how this can turn your world upside down and backwards. And sometimes it's a lot more serious for some people than not. But I would wake up in the morning, I'd feel that feeling, have that thought of being scared. I thought, I've got to take care of this because I cannot go through the next 7 weeks of radiation, etc., feeling this way. So I said, what do I do? What do I do? So instead of immediately bounding out of bed, which is what we all do when we wake up in the morning because we hit the ground running and then we go and do our day, I would take a moment of pause and I would tell myself something like, I love my life, I love my life, I love my life. Now, I might have been thinking fearful thoughts, but realizing that I can change that, that's what I did. And it really actually worked. Because when you wake up in the morning and you immediately get out of bed, you're living outside of yourself, you're living out in the world again. When you wake up in the morning and you take a few moments to think about what you're grateful for and what makes you feel good, and then you get out of bed, it changes the rhythm of your day. I promise you, at least it did with me, and I think it does with others, is you take command of your life by changing that thought, because remember, you are not your thought. So that's kind of what you can do right now as you're going through this. I feel funky today. I don't have anybody to talk to. I really want to be let go. I want to go to the movies. I want to go have dinner with a friend. I don't want to Zoom. Damn it. Shift it around and pay attention to how you're feeling throughout the day. Secondly, don't be hard on yourself if you are feeling kind of funky. It's okay. This is something that is not so pleasant to get used to, but at the same time, as we live in the world of polarities, high and low and fast and slow and black and white, as we live in that world, just as we may be feeling uncomfortable, we can look around and we can still find some things that make us feel really good, and err on the side of being grateful and happy and productive and optimistic versus feeling funky. But if you want to feel funky, find a way to nurture yourself, like I just gave you those couple of little things right there. And then work on it. And remember, you got to practice it. It's not going to happen automatically. You have to be committed to whatever it is that you're trying to learn new and to become really good at it. So back to my breast cancer morning wake up. And every morning, my intention was to say something really positive and lovely so that I could get through the day in a way that aligned a lot better with my higher self. And that's where we want to live from anyway, your higher self, your inner counselor, your sixth sense, whatever you want to call it, where your heart is, where you really intend to be and you want to live. And then secondly, some of my friends were talking about how their kids were making them a little crazy. And I said, well, are you asking or having a meeting together so you can ask for time for yourself? It's called agreement versus expectation, and it was taught to me in school by a coach, an author, a speaker by the name of Steve Chandler. And expectation versus agreement is, if you do not have that in anything in your life, when it involves somebody else or other people, you do not have an agreement, and you go immediately to, well, I expect this to be this way, then you're always going to be disappointed. It's always going to come up that way. Maybe not always, but there's a really good chance most of the time it is going to be difficult to come up with an agreement without actually talking about the agreement, so that your expectation is very clear. So if you've got little kids running around, medium kids running around, you're not taking time for yourself and you really need to, you want to take a walk by yourself, you want an hour for yourself, then you sit down and you make an agreement with whomever it is that you need to have the agreement with. And as soon as you find that, as soon as they say, yes, okay, fine, I'll let you have this, if I can have this, and you both agree to it, then if it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you say, I want to have quiet time for an hour and a half, I'm going to go into my room, I'm going to put a do not disturb on my door, and you have to honor that. Is that okay? Is that the right thing to do? Will you agree to it? And the other person says, yes, I do agree to it. Then I would say 9 times out of 10, you're going to be very successful in the outcome of this. But if you just go and close your door and don't have an agreement to do that, and then they're constantly knocking on the door saying, where are you? And your whole hour and a half or hour, whatever it is that you needed, is blown. Does that make sense? It calls for communication with the people that you're living with. It calls for you finding a safe place so you can look forward to that time by yourself and you know that it will be honored, or you hope that it will be honored. And if it's not, then you clarify it the next day until it is honored. And there was one other thing, and I wrote it on a piece of paper because I don't have a teleprompter yet. No, that's pretty much it for the day. I do want to leave you that one more thing, is learn to nurture yourself. If you're feeling funky, then find something to do in the day that may be different than what you have been doing. Something that always makes you happy. If you want to veg out on a chair and read magazines and do your nails, doing the nails, I tried that today. If you want to go ahead and do that and just have nothing to do, just sit there quietly, then please take advantage of that, because we always feel that we have to be doing something. We don't always have to be doing something, but we do have to take care of ourselves. Psychologically, one of the best things that you can do right now is to go out and walk. Take a walk, smell the roses, wear your mask, be alive, look up, put your headphones on, listen to music, whatever it is you want to do, call somebody on the phone. Best not to call. Escape from all of that and just take time for yourself. Fill your heart up with the beauty of nature. Come home, have a great dinner, great breakfast, depending on when you're walking, but learn to take care of yourself. Because when we are let out of jail, as I said before, the world is going to be different. Our lives are different. So practicing taking care of yourself and being kind and gentle and loving and grateful for what we have, that's huge. Being grateful and find a way to be of service. Not that much to ask for. You just got to practice it and set the intention and then let it go. Thanks for stopping by. Have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to talking to you soon.